Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Azaps. Just a very kind of quick initial look. I've kind of been playing with them, but I've not really played with them that much. But I'm not going to be around tomorrow, and I kind of wanted to get a video sorted, otherwise it's going to be like Saturday before I get my initial impressions of these guys out. So I've just been kind of having a few games with them, kind of testing them out a little bit, seeing how I've kind of been getting on with them. Level 15... mostly just due to unit XP cards that I'd had saved up. I got a couple of hundred of them saved up, so we just sort of threw all them at them at once. And we got, I think, 50,000 XP cards from the second set of unit challenges, which also helped. So, yes, that's kind of got me fairly high up level without really actually playing all that many games. I've actually been really quite enjoying them so far. Obviously, I had pretty high expectations. If you saw the video where I tested them on the PTR server, then you'll know I was really impressed by their counter-strike ability, which is like a sort of parry, and I absolutely managed to slaughter a unit of Fortabrashios. You'll see we kind of get to test that very slightly, but we don't really get to test it in very ideal settings. It doesn't seem like they're quite as strong as they were on the PTR server. They do seem to have been toned back a little bit, but they are still a really nice unit, and I've been really enjoying the few games I've had with them. Seem to do really quite nicely. Certainly a unit I'm going to be bringing into battle for quite a while to come, I think. So stat-wise, what we're looking at, actually, defensively, not too bad. Not only do they get just under 10,000 hit points, and that, by the time we get to level 20, is going to be over 10,000 hit points. That's really nice, not bad for a 4-star sword unit. But, slashing defense-wise was 600. Again, really quite decent. Piercing defense is a bit low. We'll come on to that with Doctrines in a minute. It's a bit of a shame here. But yeah, they have got a shield as well, even if it is basically a dinner plate. They still do a reasonable amount of blocking with it, so it makes them a fairly tanky unit. With a 28 stack unit as well, all in all, not too bad. I've gone down the top line, pretty much always for the counter-strike stuff. 6-second reduction into hand to die, reduce damage while counter-striking, immune to knockdown, and basically counter-attacking when counter-striking. I think if that's my understanding of how that is worded. Plus, we get an increased duration by a second here. So it means that the counter-strike, which in my opinion is their best ability, is quite strong. Although you also get the on-watch, which is kind of slightly similar, I think, to like a slightly watered-down Condottieri's shock attack. Is kind of how I found it so far. Doctrine-wise, I've gone pretty standard stuff, really. Slashing armor penetration, slashing damage. Mostly because we just quickly look at their slashing AP values at this level, 1300, it's a smidge on the low side, and that should be 1225 effectively without the Doctrine, and that means you're going to sort of be seeing your damage sort of drop off a bit against those higher tier units. And by just bumping it up that bit, a little bit more, and by my calculations as well, we're going to get an extra 10% from here because we'll have 2 veterancy points left over. It's going to put us sort of into the 1400s. It's going to be doing pretty reasonable damage against pretty much everything, sort of bar Reapers or something like that. Slashing damage 1300, not amazing, but you have got your counter strike and your on watch to kind of buff that slightly, so it's not too bad. And then of course I've just gone for the increased block. Why not? Always helpful. And the range damage reduction by 10%. I was kind of umming and ahhing a little bit on this one in the sense that so a 10% range damage reduction, assuming that's just an absolute value. So if you get shot by a Pavese crossbow that does 1,000 instead, now it does 900. Which is nice, but I was kind of curious if I put a plus 65 piercing defense, that would have taken me from, what, 470 to mid 500s. That would also reduce range damage, plus it would reduce spear damage a little bit, but I'm kind of unsure exactly how much difference that would make. I suspect against lower tier ranged units, the piercing defense would be better, but against higher tier stuff, this 10% reduction would be better. But there's probably some argument of a piercing defense on that one. And obviously I've left this one blank to put on the epic doctrine that we're going to get once I've completed the unit challenge. It's like a couple of seconds cooldown on reduction on the on-watch. Well worth having. So I'll throw that on here on that final slot. Anyway, talked enough already. Let's just hop into a battle. See how we've been getting on and kind of see these guys a little bit in combat. So, not long after the siege has actually started, I was kind of just sort of moving around a bit, looking to see if anyone was going to climb walls, any easy opportunities to get any kills. They knock through the gateway, a couple of serfs come in. I wasn't going to bother bringing my Azaps up here, there's so much crap flying around, random cannonballs, arrows, musket balls. no point bringing them out just to kill a couple of serfs like that, because just going to risk taking damage that's kind of unnecessary. But then I did notice at the back gate was down, and I'm looking on the minimap, looks like there's a few people starting to think about possibly pushing here. So I'm sort of thinking about what I want to do here, looking for my opportunities. Are they going to make a push? If so, what with? Thankfully, a little bit of allied support turns up, which I was kind of pleased with. And I was kind of umming and ahhing a little bit about whether to charge in or not. And I decided not to, but just as we basically touch the unit, I activate my counter strikes. And generally speaking, it seems to be pretty effective. We annihilate that unit of halberdiers, which was charging. And considering we basically took very little to no charge damage from that as a unit, I think that kind of worked pretty well. Then as we continue to get pushed back to go on for my on-watch, which just basically ups the damage of the unit, and we seem to be doing pretty decently. And yeah, we push back the attack. Nothing, I guess, super crazy in that. Some iron cap swords, and those halberdiers, that's the best thing there. A couple of other units and bits and bobs and some enemy heroes. But yeah, all in all, still, there was 50 or so units we killed, and we took, 3 losses? So all in all, not too bad. So I'm pretty pleased with that as kind of, this is like my 5th or 6th game with them or something like that. So yeah, generally, quite pleased with how they went. Okay, a few archers. I thought, well, you know, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? Kill an archer if you see it. And here's a melee player. Get stuck on the stairs. But then just go and have a little bit of a look at these archers. Don't know why this enemy player didn't quite want to shoot back. Manages to use like a double escape to get past me. I'll try and sort of catch up with him on the way out. It doesn't really work. And we get another unit pushing in. I was just a little bit nervous here. Didn't know what else was coming up. So I was thinking about pulling the unit down. Just get down the stairs. Let's see what comes. If there's nothing else other than these iron caps, we'll re-engage them. And then it just seems like it is, so I think, right, you know, sod it, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's go for it. Start hitting up with them all, charge up with the unit. As they get sort of stuck in, activate my counter strikes, which seems to make them a little bit more aggressive as well, I found. I'm a little conscious of this Maul. I think he's still got his grab, so that's why I'm trying to be hesitant. Not so bad once I've got my counter hit on, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's used his grab or not. So I activate my on-watch, and they go there really kind of crazy. Butcher through that enemy Maul player. I was really quite impressed by that. So that on-watch does seem to really increase their damage quite a lot. I did still have my grab ability, so grabbed him, threw him into the unit, killed the second Maul player, and just finish off what's left of the units at the top of the stairs. And okay, we took some casualties there, but we faced a unit of archers, 2 enemy Maul heroes, and some swords. So, you know, to come away with 18, I didn't perform too badly. I think the counter strikes is very nice against units. The fact it seems to stop that damage, it really, really increases the unit's survivability in melee combat. And I think that's the best thing about it. That's what I enjoy the most easily. But the on-watch, equally, once the postures is finished, is a well worth ability to activate, because, as you saw, I mean, it butchered through that enemy Maul hero pretty efficiently. It do quite a lot of damage in quite a quick rate of time, so it's well worth having. So we're pushing on, pushing into some more stuff. The cooldown on the counter postures is quite short, so I really have no hesitation in using it in a situation like this. As you can see, okay, the unit does take some damage, but one, there's range shooting in, including enemy heroes, but you know, also fighting prefecture guards and squires, and coming out of it pretty well. But we lost one unit, and I can now just drag them back to the supply point and heal them again. So I think that makes them pretty unique in the sense that their survivability is so good, so long as you don't get stuck into too larger fights. Because I think that's where you kind of go wrong. I found a few times where I got stuck into those really sort of larger scale fights where, you know, there's 5 heroes on each side and multiple units. Obviously then once their counter posture runs out, they then tend to sort of collapse fairly quickly. Yes, they still have that 10,000 hit points and that 600 slashing. It still diminishes pretty quickly once you start getting hit by a lot of stuff at once, particularly multiple enemy heroes. So I'm then just sort of chasing a bit of stuff down, a couple of Janissaries, we just chase them off and kill a few little guys as they try and run away. I started chasing them up, had to get this Maul player. He made the mistake of going for the horse. He should have probably just gone for the siege tower. Might have been able to outrun me. So we took him down and thinking, right, okay, where to next? And it looks like the enemy is pushing our supply point over the back of the map. So that's where I'm heading to. But pretty well, completely well, everything gets killed by the time I turn up. So I'm sort of umming and ahhing a bit of where to go next. And I kind of make a bit of a mistake here. I'm sort of looking, I was thinking about going up, and then I saw the Fortebraccios. I'm not going to be on very idealised ground here, so this is where I kind of screwed myself up a little bit. The Fortebraccios set themselves up at the top of the stairs, and yeah, all in all, cost me a unit or two. Wasn't a very good move there. It was a bad Evo moment. But we do start to get pushed a little bit on the bottom. But then also we've got the Fortebraccios pushing down. Well, I think he does manage to grab me, but he has no stamina left because he did the charge. So then I was wanted to try against the Fortebraccios, so we hit as we go in. And you see, actually we fare pretty well in a way against the Fortebraccios. I think I made the mistake of not pushing deep enough with my maul, so I didn't knock the back line of them down because we were in that denser block, which meant I got myself killed, which was a little bit unfortunate. But in effect, you saw there at the start of that maul hit, the Azaps were able to walk into the line of mauls and not really take any damage. And that is significant. And I think as they get them high leveled, as we get their sort of knockback, and they're being able to counterattack, I think we'll start to see these guys eating Fortebraccios more and more. And that's kind of a really interesting thing. But anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for a load more Conqueror's Blade content.